We're going to talk about my favorite ways to greet people or just to say hey to someone in Spanish because there's a lot of different ways, but here's the ones that I use the most. I'll also show you the other common ways, but I'll kind of walk you through what the exact meaning is of each one because no one really ever likes to take the time to explain it to you. So let's get into it. First of all, welcome to the Michael Harper Spanish podcast. If you're serious about learning Spanish and becoming fluent this year within a matter of months and want to learn exactly how I was able to learn Spanish within just a matter of months and become fluent, I've got a free masterclass where I show you everything in detail, what I did and didn't focus on, along with the most powerful resources you need to be using. Simply go to michaelharperspanish.com and you'll find a link to sign up and save your spot in that. Or you can even go to Instagram at Michael Harper Spanish and send me a direct message with the word class. Can't wait to see you there. So obviously we know that you can greet someone by simply saying hola, which is perfectly fine, but depending on what time of day it is, you'll obviously want to say something like good morning or good afternoon or something like that. Now, if you're going to say good morning, it's simply buenos dias. Remember that dia, even though it ends with an A, is a masculine word, which means that the part that says buenos is buenos with an O at the end, not buenas. A lot of people make that mistake in the beginning where they'll say buenos dias. It's buenos dias, okay? First of all, buenas tardes is good afternoon, and then buenas noches is good night. Now remember that noche, even though it ends with an E, it is a feminine word, so it's buenas with an A at the end there. Buenas noches. The same goes with tarde. Tarde, la tarde is the afternoon. It's a feminine word. No one knows why. So it's buenas tardes. Basically, whenever it comes to good morning and good night and good afternoon, it's like it's completely reversed when it comes to feminine and masculine words. It's kind of weird. But what I'm trying to get at is typically instead of saying hola, buenas tardes, if it's the afternoon, you can just say buenas. I use that all the time. So if it's sort of the afternoon or even at night, you can just say buenas or hola buenas. So that's one of my favorite ways to greet someone if it's in the afternoon. Now, you're obviously going to want to ask someone how they are, and here are the best ways to do that. We have the obvious way, which is ¿Cómo estás? It just means how are you, literally. Now, this is if you know someone well. If you're in more of a formal situation, you're going to say ¿Cómo está? Without the S on the end of estás. So ¿Cómo estás? Is for anyone that you know pretty well. But if it's more of a formal situation or it's someone that you haven't really met before, it sounds a lot nicer to just say ¿Cómo está? I love to say something like todo bien, which word for word means all well. It's really meaning, how is everything okay or everything good. Todo bien. All good. A lot of times I'll follow up on a ¿Cómo estás? With a todo bien. So it'll sound something like hola, ¿cómo estás? Todo bien. Hey, how are you? How's everything going? Everything well. Another great greeting is to ask ¿Cómo vas? Vas means you are going or are you going. So if you ask ¿Cómo vas? It means how are things going for you or how's it going? How are you going? Now you can also say ¿Cómo te va? Now the te here is actually the indirect object for you. So it's really asking how are things going for you if you want to get, grammatical here. But you can say ¿Cómo te va? To ask how are things going for you. It really means the same thing as ¿Cómo vas? You can also ask something like ¿Cómo va todo? How is everything going? Remember from earlier, todo means everything or all. So if I ask ¿Cómo va todo? It's how's everything going? I could also ask ¿Cómo está todo? How is everything? So ¿Cómo va todo? Is how is everything going? Whereas ¿Cómo está todo? Is how is everything? You'll hear this phrase sometimes, although I don't really use it a lot and it's not very common, but it's good to know if someone ever says it to you. It's ¿Cómo te ha ido? It literally means how has it gone for you? ¿Cómo te ha ido? That's what it'll sound like at a normal speed. ¿Cómo te ha ido? How have things gone for you? Again, it's not the most common thing in the world, but you may hear it from time to time, so just be prepared for that. Don't worry too much about the grammatical stuff in that phrase unless you're interested in it, but it is good to at least recognize that. You'll hear ¿qué pasa?, which means what's up. I honestly don't really use that ever. I think it depends on what country. I don't want to be wrong and say which country is more likely to use it, but typically I use ¿qué pasa?, more as what's going on, as in like if I walk in a room and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, ¿qué pasa? You know, I don't really use it as like a, hey, what's up? Some people do. So it's perfectly fine if you want to say what's up to say ¿qué pasa? But I'll be honest, I don't really use it like that. Me personally, and the people that I talk to, the people that I hang out with, we don't use it like that. We use it more of a what's up, like what's going on here. Now, you'll also hear a couple of different things like ¿qué hay?, which means word for word, what is there or what are there. It literally means that, but it really means, you know, what's going on or what's up. So you can say ¿qué hay?. Some people will say ¿qué hubo?, which is the past tense version basically of there is or there are. It's like saying what is there or what was there or what were. It's like saying what were there or what was there. But it really is just another way to say, hey, what's up? And there you have it. It's not too complicated, to be honest. It's just some great phrases to know if you want to say hey to someone or greet somebody. And it's good to know some formal and informal ways. Any one of these ways that I just mentioned sound great. And you can pair a lot of these with simple greetings like hola or buenos dias. I always do this. I'll say hola, buenos dias, ¿cómo vas? Or ¿cómo está todo? ¿Cómo va todo? ¿Cómo te va? ¿Cómo vas? There's so many different things that you can pair together, especially with the greeting like, hey, good morning, how are you? Because you never really just go, hey, good morning. But I hope you got a lot of value out of this. Be sure to download this podcast and follow it if you're listening on Spotify. Give a review on Apple Podcast if you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, and you can be notified of more videos in the future. Be sure to check me out on Instagram at Michael Harper Spanish, and be sure, there's so much value in this free masterclass. Be sure to sign up for that free masterclass if you want to learn Spanish as quickly as possible and you want to learn how I was able to do it within just a matter of months. Can't wait to see you there. Keep on learning Spanish. I promise it's so worth it. See you in the next one.